in for a long slog, that our allies and partners need to remain, that our resolve needs to remain strong, and that we need to continue to execute on the strategy of inflicting significant cost on the Russian economy, and again, strengthening Ukraine on the battlefield and at the negotiating table.
The Biden administration warning that the war in Ukraine is not likely to end anytime soon. U.S. leaders say Europe brace, and they should brace, for a violent conflict that could last several more weeks or even months. Some admit it could be a challenge to keep the West united against Russia and Vladimir Putin as harsh sanctions take a toll on the global economy. Let's bring in now Mark Brzezinski. He is U.S. ambassador to Poland. Ambassador, first of all, I want to ask you, how do you see it? Do you think the West might not remain united against Russia?
Well, not from the standpoint in Poland, Arthel. I can tell you this country is absolutely committed to the freedom and sovereignty of Ukraine. I'm speaking to you, Arthel, from Warsaw, Poland. And in this city alone, there's 300,000 Ukrainian refugees. 10% of the population of this city right now is Ukrainian refugees. And this country is committed to tough sanctions, to supporting the Ukrainian people. And it was important, Arthel, that President Biden came here last weekend and said in English, "For your freedom and ours," and I will say it in Polish, "Za wasza wolność I nasza." Those were the words of the famous Polish general Tadeusz Kościuszko when he came to support the American revolutionaries during the Revolutionary War. And that is what our president said to the Polish people. And it was an important reassurance that the Poles got from the Americans. But I think unity is being maintained, particularly here on the Eastern Front.
Well, that's so wonderful to hear. And you're right, the presence of our president of the United States, President Biden, being there physically and there on the ground and giving those strong words and such sentiment of commitment is very important. And Poland, of course, is very committed and provides refuge and support for Ukrainians, so many Ukrainians in so many critical ways, as you well know, Ambassador. How long, though, how long is what the world would like to know, can Poland take on such enormous weight and responsibility?
Well, you're right, and that's the right way of putting it. Poland has taken on enormous weight and responsibility. Think about this, Arthel. In the last 3 weeks, Poland has taken in around 2.5 million Ukrainian refugees. 2.5 million in 3 weeks, and there's a national policy to take those refugees into people's homes. And so you're right to ask me about the capacity issue and what Poland has seen from people across the world. And I'm so proud when I think about the Ukrainian American community, the Polish American community that has sent money, that has sent humanitarian supplies to help the refugees here. And so it's a lot of people that has come into this country, and a lot of resources are being sent here to support it. More is needed. More is needed by the Polish Red Cross. More is needed by the...
If I may, I want to ask you specifically, Ambassador, because again, you're 2.5 million Ukrainians at this point having fled to Poland. That's a huge number of people looking for some sort of a safe haven. So what is the biggest challenge facing Poland in this great humanitarian effort that could possibly be steps away from being an out-of-control humanitarian crisis?
Well, the answer, Arthel, is we can't know that because we can't be in Putin's head. We don't know what further horrors he will commit that may send millions more across the border. At this point, I can report to you that this country has this in hand, although it needs resources and welcomes resources through its lead NGOs and charities like the Polish Red Cross, like the Polish Humanitarian Assistance. But quite frankly, it will be a capacity issue. And the hope for all the people who are coming here is that they can return to Ukraine. That's why they're staying close to Ukraine and Poland and not going further west to Germany, to France, to Spain. They want to stay here, the Ukrainian refugees, so they can go back to their homes quickly and start rebuilding. But how long it lasts, Arthel, I don't know. We don't know what Putin will do next. And in the meantime, tough sanctions, supporting the refugees is the approach the Poles, with the support by the Americans, is taking.
Well, Ambassador, you clearly have sincere passion and compassion for the people of Ukraine, and you're representing Poland so well and representing our country just as wonderfully. So I thank you, U.S. Ambassador to Poland, Mark Brzezinski. Thank you for joining us. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much. And we're going to take a break. Take care.